All right, so last year we did something very similar to this. We called it the coaches panel. The coaches got together and worked out. We talked about winter training. We talked about why winter training is important. So this year I kind of wanted to touch on that. Certainly we have some people who have been here last year. We certainly, as I'm looking around, see some faces that even I don't recognize. So I'm very glad that you're all here. For those of you who don't know, my name is Devlin. I am the programs manager / head coach for now. And my job is to make sure that everything at this building and the building next to us runs smoothly and that everyone here is happy. Yeah. It means that I'm not. If you are happy, I assume you are not calling me. So if you're not calling me, I assume you are happy. That is not an invitation to call me all the time. Okay. Anyway, so I wanted to talk about winter training again. I think it's always important. You know, we just got off the water. It was certainly a season. We certainly had some ups and downs, and I think we came out on the other side of it better than we went in. Frankly, I think that we learned a few things about this team as a whole, about ourselves, and how we are all a part of making this team the best it can be. There are also people in this room who have not done anything like this before. In fact, all of you at one point in time have never done anything like this before. So the reason why last year and this year we are emphasizing or talking about winter training before we go into winter training is so that you have an understanding of why, in reference to this sport, winter training is so important. But also why, in reference to this team, winter training can be so important. All right, so this year, we're committing to making ourselves better physically, technically, mentally, and we're using a more comprehensive approach to do that. All right, so let me just talk a little bit about what winter training is in general. Certainly we understand that we are a unique team for a lot of reasons. Certainly there's a common thread, at least one common thread between all of us, but also I think another common thread I think the majority of us have, like 99% of us have, is that we've never rowed before. Right, this is our first rowing team, or our first experience with rowing. So, learning what, we certainly approach things a little differently as coaches because this is a different team, but for that reason as well. And it's not even just new to rowing. A good half of us have never been a part of an athletic team ever. And that takes some time to learn how to kind of, not necessarily behave, but how to approach things on an athletic team, how to talk to coaches, how to be coached, all those kinds of things. So we are certainly a unique team for a lot of reasons. All right. Recently, we've been thinking a lot about what it means to be a master, or what masters teams generally look like. A lot of times, masters rowers are people who either rowed before or didn't row but were athletic and wanted to do something new. Rarely does someone say, "I've never done athletics before. Let me see what rowing is all about." And there's a lot of reasons for that. So generally, masters teams are full of ex-athletes, so to speak, or even ex-rowers. They come for the rowing. That's what they come here for. But our team is a little different because what got us here, or even just thinking about coming here, is not rowing. In fact, it's about as far from rowing as you can imagine. So what we do first is we are a team of people who have shared experience, a negative one who are trying to turn that into a positive shared experience. All right, so we want to make sure that our job as coaches, first and foremost, is to make sure that everyone here feels like they are welcome here, that they belong here, and that no matter what level, ability, fitness, doesn't matter, you are in the right place. All right, that's first and foremost, and then we talk about rowing. Okay, so when we approach things, and that's something that, frankly, that I learned, I think a lot of the coaches learned this past year. It's something I think we knew, but didn't really have the ability to articulate until the experience that we all had this past year. All right, I'm not going to get too into that, so for those of you who are not quite sure what I'm talking about, I'm happy to talk to you on the side about that. Today is all about positivity and how much fun we're going to have this winter on the rowing machines. The reality is for winter training, for us, it is an opportunity to get everyone of all of those abilities and fitness levels and interest levels and commitment levels into the same room, working hard towards a number of goals. I'm not going to say the same goal. There's a lot of people on this team who have a variety of goals in mind. But coming together, being in the same room, working together, that's something that can really help to seal a bond. It can make you feel supported. It can make you feel positive. I mean, that's what this team is all about. All right, there are no masters, there are no novices when it comes to winter training. All right, we have practices Mondays, Wednesdays, and Sunday mornings, and everyone is welcome. You might sit next to someone who's been rowing for 10 years. You might sit next to someone who's been rowing for 10 days, right? And it doesn't matter. The beauty of winter training is that you're on that erg by yourself with everyone else, right? We're all working on something different on that erg by ourselves, but we have people next to us who are working on their own things. And knowing that that person next to me is working and I'm working, there's a lot that can be gained from going through that kind of stuff. Winter training can tend to be monotonous and boring and tough and hard, especially here. You're kind of watching the water and you're like, I'd much rather be out there than I would be in here. But when you have the people with you, when you have this group here now and everyone else on the team in the room working hard together, it can make the experience out there even better. All right, so I want you to keep that in mind. That's true regardless of whether you're just a master rower or you are a part of this team. All right, that's where that intersection lies. That everyone's really working hard. There are a few very sick people who don't like to row on the water and prefer to row on the erg. No, I'm just kidding. Certainly, it is something. It is not my cup of tea. But I definitely, when I've had to row indoors in the past, I know that it's because I'm trying to work to get better outdoors. All right. So remember that. Keep that goal in mind as a team, right? We don't do anything. We don't have any singles out there. It's 4s and 8s. You're going to be in boat with the people that you're seeing around you now. You want to make sure that you're encouraging them now, they're encouraging you now, so that when you get out there on the water, the experience for everyone is much better. All right? And that's, like I said, that's true of every Masters team. Okay? All Masters teams are generally trying to just get better now so that their experience is better later. Except for Master Men, they're just trying to prove who's strongest on the earth. So, okay. I just talked a little bit about this, why we do winter training. All right? Again, this is an opportunity from brand spanking new to 10, 11-year vet of rowing to come together in the same room and work hard together. All right? What we can do now is set that team culture that we want to feel when we go outdoors, when we're in the boats, supporting each other, right? Some people have a good row, some people have a bad row. Doesn't matter. At the end of the day, we're all a team. All right? And everyone has bad rows, and everyone has good rows, and everyone's trying to do their best. And at the end of the day, we're here to support each other and to be there for each other. And we know that because we did it indoors, right? It's very easy for that to translate from indoors to outdoors if you've done it indoors. Certainly, working out on the rowing machine is an opportunity to torture yourself physically. It can be challenging, difficult, for a lot of the reasons I mentioned, right? You're indoors, you're on the erg, it doesn't move. All you get to see is your screen and what's outside here. And sometimes you don't even get a window at the place you're erg. All right? And if Deb Thorne's Travels have told us anything, it's that no one takes care of their ergs outside of this point. All right? So, working hard we talk about exercise as part of our mission. Working hard to get fitter to help us fight back. All right, this is quintessential part of our mission. Getting physically fit, fitter, right? Doing more than we did yesterday. And that means a lot of different things. It doesn't mean that if you're not all the way at the top, that you're the worst and all the way at the bottom. There's no cuts here, right? You work as hard as you need to work to get done what you want to get done, and it's a success. Frankly, for us as coaches, you walk through that door and it's a win. All right, the rest of it is just icing on the cake. Okay? But that icing involves some physical fitness, and that's a good thing. It's also an opportunity to work specifically on your individual skill, your individual technique. out on the boat, there's a lot of factors that go into how you're rowing, how the boat's moving, all that kind of stuff. Indoors, on the rowing machine, like I said, you are alone together, right? You're on that erg as an individual and can work on your own individual technique without affecting anyone else, and vice versa. Their work on their individual technique is not necessarily affecting you. So this is a good time to focus on that. We want to get better. We want to build good habits over the winter so that when we get out on the water, we're in a spot where we can continue to improve. It's a continued improvement, not just, oh, we're back on the water. I guess I got to start all over again. I think last year we made a big push for winter training, similar to like what we're doing now. And we hit the water in a position that felt more like mid-season form than it did like the beginning of every other season. And that was because you guys put in hard work over the winter to not just improve yourselves, but improve everyone, to bring the whole team up. And so when we hit the water, it was like, oh, wait, we can do this. This is not so foreign. This is not so far away. This is not me starting all over again. And regardless of your ambitions within the team and within the sport, I think everyone's here working to get even just a little bit better at what we're doing. All right? As I like to say, even Olympians have coaches. All right? They're working on things too. We're working on things. So this is an opportunity to work more specifically and individually on what you need or want to do better. That's a good thing. And the coaches are here to help you do that. A note about that, there are a lot of you. So if you are working on something, let a coach know, and they can be more responsive about letting you know whether that's going well, what you need to do better, what is going great already. Because they're not just going to look at you and say, I think this person's working on that, or I think this person's working on that. They need some information from you. Getting coached is a two-way street. All right, we're going to talk a little bit about that. The other part of winter training that I think is one of the more beneficial parts is the mental aspect of things. As I've alluded to a few times, it can feel like torture. We're on this machine, we're pulling these meters, you're watching them tick down. It seems like your rest gets shorter and the time you're working gets longer as you go through these workouts. They're hard. And there are plenty of opportunities, especially since you're not in a boat, to say, you know what, I'm done. And just kind of quit. But you don't. You take that next stroke, and you find at the end of the workout, hey, you know what, I wanted to quit and I didn't. And I'm a little more mentally stronger for it. And those small gains on a daily basis will lead to a larger ability or more strength as you not just move in through rowing and out onto the water, but everywhere. I remember when I was younger, I'd be like, man, if I can do a 2K, I can do this. Right? Like if 2K won't kill me, then I think I can probably do whatever homework assignment I've been putting off for a while or whatever it is. It's a big part of it. I talked about the shared experience that brought everyone in this room here. That's what you got through to get here pales in comparison to everything you'll do on the earth. I mean, truly. I can only empathize, and just from my own vantage point, I can't. It's an unbelievable amount of strength that you all have individually within each of you. So this is an opportunity to show that strength and to build on it. And that's what we want to do. So that's part of the mental aspect. And we're going to do a few things throughout winter training, I think, that will help you focus specifically on the mental aspect, not just pushing hard on the rowing machines. Okay? All right, so let's start with the team culture. All right? And I've already touched on this. I mean, we are a different team. And that's okay. In fact, I think that's one of our strengths. In a lot of other teams, it's based on performance, and it's hierarchical. You're ranked top to bottom, not here. All right. Your value here is the same across the board, and that value is that we value that you are here to take action, to do something that you've never done before, and to make it work for you. Realize that everyone is doing that same thing, regardless of how hard they're pulling on the erg or in the boat. That's important to remember every time you come through those doors, because there is opportunity to compete. I think competition can be healthy, but it's not the only thing we're here for, and it's actually not even one of the things that, is on our value statement. I think it can help in a lot of things. I've been an athlete my whole life. I've competed at a high level, and it's great. It's done a lot for me as a person. But that's not the only thing that can make someone a good person. That's not the only thing that is valuable on this team or in this world. So remember that. Don't compare yourself to someone else. There's no reason to do that. We're all in here, and we're all working hard, and that's what's important. Winter training is an opportunity to really solidify a lot of the friendships, a lot of the relationships that you form on this team that may have started out outdoors for some of you. Again, I can't say enough about working hard, about sweating, about pushing through with the person right next to you doing the same. What that does, there's a lot of different people in here coming from a lot of different experiences and a lot of different backgrounds. But on the erg, you're all the same. You're all working hard, and you're all trying to do your best. And it means a lot to you and the person next to you when you're doing that together. And I think that really helps to emphasize and to highlight what this team can do for the people who are on it. That's why we're here. Supporting each other through the tough moments, right? We do benchmarks, 20-minute benchmarks. We do hard workouts, encouraging your teammate to cross the finish line after you have, or vice versa. I mean, these are the things that winter training allows us to do, to stand there and really support, right? In the boat, it's not the same. You're in the boat with the person, it's unspoken, but here you really get to show your support for the person who's pushing themselves, and they can do the same for you. And that's really something that's valuable in terms of building a team culture and a team dynamic. You're not alone. I talk about you alone on the erg together, but you're not alone. You've got people pushing you, you've got people supporting you, coaches, teammates, everyone. All right, so that winter training is ideal for that sort of situation, and to really prove yourself as a teammate and be proven to you that your teammates are in fact there for you. The value statement. This is something that we came up with a couple of years ago that I think is important to talk about and highlight. We believe in the power of sport. I was just talking about that in terms of competition, but just in terms of the things that sports can do for you beyond the sports arena, right? Mental toughness, physical fitness, those types of things. All right? It's a valuable tool capable of improving fitness and quality of life, especially for patients and survivors of breast cancer. We value teamwork, okay? Working together. We work together on the water in our boats. We can do the same thing. We can work together here indoors as well. We celebrate diversity. I mean, again, so many different backgrounds, so many different experiences all here, sharing the same experience together, making it supportive and positive. We aim for quality. We try to do the best. We try to do the best that we can. We ask you to try to do the best that you can. That's quality. I'm not saying there's no standard for your performance here. And in fact, what I think you're going to realize is performance is not a word that's even listed on here. All right? We don't, scratch that. I'm not going to say we don't care how you perform. It's just not the thing that defines you on this team. Okay? Like I said, there's a lot of competitive teams out there who are defined, your value is your erg score and what you can do in a boat. That's not here. We certainly give opportunity for competition because, I believe that it's an opportunity to do something you may have never done before. And it's an opportunity to push yourself if that's what you want. But performance, in terms of who's going faster, that's not a part of our core values. All right? Commitment in all the forms it takes. Rowing is a sport that necessarily requires some degree of commitment to do well at and then continue to improve on. That being said, we have not yet highlighted the Olympics as a goal of ours. So, okay? So, you guys, I recognize, and sometimes it's hard for me, I have to remember this, but this is a lot of my life. This is my full-time job that I do during office hours and after. This is not your full-time job. If you can make it once a week, great. If you can make it twice a month, great. If you can't make it for a few months for whatever reason, that doesn't make you any less a part of this team. All right? We value commitment in any form it takes. If you commit to doing something more than you've done before, if you've never worked out before, coming twice a month, coming once a week is a huge step. And we value that. We value that commitment. And we are here to help facilitate that as coaches. All right? And we aim to build a sustainable organization. A negative team culture, no one wants to be a part of. So for my end, for the program, a sustainable organization involves making sure that everyone feels welcome, feels like they are part of a team, and feels that the best that they can do is absolutely good enough. All right? So this is our value statement. We want to make sure that this comes through in everything that we do on a daily basis. All right? And it's important, even though it's out there, for us to tell you that, because I want you to remember that we know that. And I want you to remember it as well. All right, let's talk about physical fitness. We will put together a training plan. Much like we have in the past, it will be based on 3 days a week. It will have a steady state or a longer, lower intensity. It'll have middle intensity, and it'll have those Fast Friday type workouts, those high intensity, short interval stuff. We will give you splits that you can try to hit for those workouts. Those splits are based on our 20-minute benchmarks. All right. Those benchmarks are there for both those who race and those who don't, because it's a good indicator of where you're at physically, and will help you train and tailor all of the training plans specifically to you, without the coach saying, come on in and pull 80% or 70%. I don't even know what that means. I wouldn't do the math myself, and I love to. All right, we're going to actually include, so I'll show you the schedule of all the opportunities to work out and whatnot through Row. But during the winter, we'll have practices here Monday nights, Wednesday nights, and Sunday mornings. Monday nights, Coach Sheena, who is also a board member, will be running our boot camps. So those are like the high-intensity interval training that will include some rowing and some bodyweight exercise. As aging individuals, we need to worry about our bone density. Never mind all of the medication, the treatments, and so on that you've all gone through as a result of your diagnosis. So rowing is not really a weight-bearing exercise. It doesn't help you by itself with bone density. So these high interval, these boot camps that Sheena will run on Monday nights, all right, those are an opportunity, if you don't have one anywhere else, to get some of that load-bearing, that weight-bearing exercise that will help improve bone density and stave off osteoporosis and all those fun things. All right? Mobilization, stretching. We focus on it over the winter, over the summer, over the outdoor season. And despite some initial resistance, I think everyone found that it wasn't a bad thing. It's certainly helpful. If you have flexibility issues, the only way to get better is to work on it. Going into the boat, going into a workout prepared, warmed up already, loose, limber, ready to go, that helps you perform better. That helps you achieve the goals that you want to achieve on the rowing machine. All right? As well as afterwards. There's as much improvement that can be made by cooling down properly and stretching as by doing the work itself. All right? So stretching before and after is something that's important. And cross-training. Again, rowing on the erg, and nothing but rowing on the erg can get monotonous, and it can make it very difficult. You can get bored and just stale. So if you got classes at a local gym, if there's something else you can do, we encourage exercise, and our vehicle for exercise is rowing. But exercise in total, anything you can do is great. If there's an opportunity for you to go to a Zumba class or whatever other yoga class, hot yoga, hot Zumba, whatever it is, do it, take it, because that's a great opportunity to get a different type of fitness and just help you feel healthier in general. Rowing is not the only thing we want you to do. We want you to do all of it. All right? So, and you'll see, I mean, I think we put together a pretty cool incentive program this year, and that's going to be part of it. All right? Let's talk about technique. Ergs don't float. They sure don't. What that means in the world of rowing is that your erg score, right, however fast you are in an erg, doesn't mean you're going to be that fast in the boat. All right? You could be just a big rock in that boat despite pulling great erg scores, because There's a lot of other things that go into rowing on the water that don't necessarily go into rowing on the erg. This is an opportunity, again, to focus on that and translate what you can do on the rowing machine out onto the water eventually. I read through a few articles and a variety of things that talked about, that kind of put this in a way that I thought was applicable for us. Learning is the acquisition of skill, knowledge, technique, and tactics, and performance is essentially the application of it as we continue to work and at our highest levels. We talk about performance in terms of competitiveness, but performance can still be applied to everyone in terms of how they want to perform. So we can do both of these over the course of this winter. We want to learn, we want to acquire, we want to talk about, give you all the knowledge that you need and you want to be as successful as you want to earn or achieve the goals that you want on the erg and then ultimately on the water. All right? But you have to remember when the opportunities are to learn and when the opportunities are to perform. The learning can happen all the time, right? We want to give you the tools so that when you go to perform, in whatever way that means for you, that you feel comfortable doing so and can apply the learning that you've already done to that performance. All right. Again, that is independent of competitive performance, and that is as individual as all of you. All right. Yeah.
On that, so one of the things that is good about winter training and makes rowing go a little bit harder is your conditioning. So you can have a ton of bad form and still get a good workout in on your so you're not worried about setting a boat, those blades are dragging in the water, it's crap, none of that's going to happen later. When we get onto the water, being fit from winter training is going to help you significantly when we get out there. Because being able to perform when you are fatigued, being able to hold your body up, think about getting your hands away, think about setting your body, all that stuff. When you're tired on the water, will make it much easier for you to row. And with that, make it easier for you to get a workout. Because if you're worried because the boat is offset, because people are just kind of like, oh, what's happening? I don't know. It's really hard to be on pressure. It's really hard to work hard when there's all this other stuff happening. But if you put in the work in the winter, you can work on our technical skills and everything while being tired, while being under pressure. That's going to translate really, really well for you guys once you get back out on the water. Does that make sense? So working out in here, this is a really, really excellent time. It's 2, 3, 4 months we're going to be able to do this. That's going to be a significant help for you guys once we get back out on the water.
April, yeah. And to that end, miles versus quality miles. So there's that 10,000 hour rule, right, where it's like you can't be good at anything or whatever that ends up being. And there's some dispute about that even now. But the reality is that you could come to every practice we offer, and you could just kind of mail it in technically and all that kind of stuff, and you could spend the time, you could spend the hours, you could get the miles. But if you're not working to be better on all of those from a technical aspect, then you're not going to get better. You're just going to create and form bad habits, right? So we want to make sure that whether we're warming up, whether we're cooling down, whether we're in the middle of our piece, no matter what, whenever we take a stroke, that we are working, we're doing our best to take the best stroke we can. All right, that is quality miles. All right, not just getting through it, but getting through it technically sound, the best that you can do, and the coaches will help you do that. All right, but you have to commit to doing that as well, to making sure that every stroke you take is a good stroke. All right. I also want to talk about coachability. This is something that I think can be, it's easily understood, and it can be difficult to understand if this is good, if this is your first experience on a team with a coach, being coached this way, right? Coachability is understanding that you always have something to learn, and that there are people who are willing to help you learn that, and being open to receiving their coaching. All right. So the questions. This was something that really hit home hard. A couple years ago, we were at the U.S. Rowing Convention, and the nutritionist for the national team. He was talking about performance and all that kind of stuff, but also about especially elite level athletes thinking, that they're elite level athletes and they don't have a lot more to learn. That they had to continue to ask themselves, am I being coachable? Am I open to coaching? All right. Symptoms of not being coachable are more easily identified tangibly than those that aren't. Grumbling in the boat, blaming others for bad set, feeling like the coach is ignoring you. That's bringing negativity into a space that you don't have to. All right? Is the boat not running well? What can you do to make it better? Right? And that starts here, indoors. All right? Because you have to develop that mindset to be open to what the coaches are telling you. All right? Certainly gets more complicated out in the water. We know that as coaches. We see it all. All right? And likely we see more than what you guys are feeling in there. And but for our reasons, and it's not to keep you in the dark or anything like that, we are focused on one thing or another. All right? We are here. We are only here to help you get better. Okay? A coaching job at Rowe will not springboard you to the national team. Okay, I'm going to put that out there now. I know, it's hard to believe, but it will not. We are here because we are committed to the mission and we are committed to you. Okay? And we are going to do what we can to make sure that you have the best experience. What you can do in return is be open to what we are trying to help you do and what we are trying to give you. All right? It may not feel like you're finishing low, but if the coach is like, hey, you're finishing low, rather than, no, I'm not, the boat is down on my side, all right, what can I do to make that better? It's very easy. It's very easy in theory. Okay? But when that negativity pops up, you can say, all right, am I being coachable? Am I open to coaching? Okay, what can I do better? What can I do better to make this row better? And it might not get any better. But if everyone's working on themselves, if everyone is working to be coachable, to be open to that coaching, then they're going to be, your boat is going to have a better experience. You are going to have a better experience. And again, that starts in here. All right, when the coach is talking about what you're doing technically, feels like this, feels like that. It's okay to have a dialogue. You don't have to accept everything we say but understand that we're here to help you build, and you are a part of that, necessarily. Okay? It's easy to fall into that negativity, even about yourself. You may not even be like, I'm the one who's blowing up this row right now. It takes time, it takes practice. All right? Part of that is mental strength and training. All right? So, mental strength, you can talk about the ability to persevere in pursuit of a goal when faced with obstacles or challenges. I mean, that's, right? Again, we talked about being on the erg and it being hard. The obstacle is, this is hard. The challenge is to do it anyway, right? And we're not talking about injuring yourself, okay? There's no reason to push yourself so hard that you're going to fall off the erg and pass out. Okay, but I think you understand what I'm saying. When it gets tough, what can you do to continue on? And again, you've already done it. You've already done it on a much larger scale. That's why you're here. So don't think that you aren't already mentally strong, because you are. This is an opportunity on a daily basis to push our limits. Mental strength, mental training, that doesn't happen in leaps and bounds. It happens a little bit at a time. We're going to do a few things to help facilitate that. All right? Row member Marina, who was a novice this past year, is going to lead us on the 14th of November. I'll talk about that in a minute. But in the 9 energizing breaths, this is a way to calm the brain, give yourself some energy, and focus on internal, on you, on how you can kind of clear some things out and give yourself not only energy but calmness. Right? This is part of mental training, is doing that and practicing that. It takes as much practice as the water, right? And once you kind of get going, once you build that habit, it continues to help you and continues to improve. They can also help a lot with when you're able to do that, when you're able to kind of clear some things out and really focus on visualization, however you want to say it. All right? The process of creating a mental image or intention of what you want to happen or feel. We're talking about these technical aspects that we want you to build in, right? visualizing yourself making that change. What will that change feel like? So on and so forth. These are things that can be very, very helpful. All right? We want to give you the tools to be able to do that. All right? So you can incorporate that on and off the earth, right? Once we get on the water especially. What do you have to do as you go into every practice, whether it's indoors or outdoors? What do I have to do to be the best rower I can today? Let me visualize it. Doesn't take a lot of time, but it does take practice. And winter training, again, is an ideal place for that to happen. All right? Okay. All right, how do we do winter training? We have a ton of opportunities to work out. All right? Mondays and Wednesdays, 6 to 7:15 here. Sunday mornings as well. This is a lot like the schedule that we had last year. Sheena will be doing Mondays, Lily will be doing Wednesdays, and Lindsay will be doing Sundays. All right? Boot camp for Sheena, that was that high-intensity interval training I was talking about. Steady state with Lily, again, this is that's kind of like the jogging of rowing. This is the opportunity to get in a lot of miles, right, and really work that technique, but also develop your anaerobic base, or your aerobic base, sorry. All right? I talked to a few people after last winter as we got through some of the on-water stuff, and they said that hitting the water after working out over the winter, their fitness was at such a point that they could get more miles in on the rows. This is a great opportunity to work on. All right? Steady state is a great opportunity to work on you, to work on what you need to do technically, physically, to all those things to get better. Steady state is the base of the pyramid as far as this sport goes, and it's a significant part of it, is your aerobic zone. If you can increase your aerobic capacity, you can increase your ability to go faster, if that's what you want to do. All right, steady state is a great place to work on technique and fitness. And then Sunday mornings, Lindsay will take us through some technique. All right, and then we'll do she'll build in some high intensity work after that. For those of you who don't know, Lindsay has 2 bronze medals from the World Championships and coached 2 different colleges, and is probably one of the most, has the most experience of any coach we've ever hired for row. She is also the only coach who applied for the position when I put it out on Row 2K 2 years ago. So we kind of got lucky there. I was like 5 minutes into having coffee, there was like, I just want you to know, like, you have the job, okay? You got it. We're just figuring out when you can come. But take advantage of those. Those are some really great opportunities to improve in all the ways we talked about, mentally, physically, and technically. All right. There's also obviously Blueprint. That's in Westtown, 7 to 8 a.m. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. There's also a 6 a.m. class on Fridays with me. Steady state on Mondays, middle intensity with Sheena on Wednesdays, and high intensity work with me on Fridays. Alliance Arc up north in Wilmette, Tuesdays 6:30 to 7:30, Saturdays 8:30 to 9:30, and then community class Tuesdays and Thursdays. That's not specifically row, but you are welcome to come. It's just another opportunity to work out. That is 3, 7, 9, 11 opportunities every single week to work out. Should you work out 11 different times during the week? Probably not. But these are your opportunities, okay? If you come, you can kind of pick and choose which ones you come to. All right. If you only ever end up, your schedule is such that you only come to like steady state workouts, great. Steady state is important. All right. It is actually in volume more important than any of the high intensity stuff we do. Okay. So if you have to make a choice, come do steady state. Yes, Barry. All right. So this is the schedule as it currently exists. We are still in search for a new head coach. Things will likely change when that head coach comes on board. In terms of staffing, not in terms of schedule. I am working on figuring that out. I'm not going to say yes because I don't want to commit to that just yet. But until that person comes on board, I'm still doing both jobs. So I have to figure out where I can get those hours. I would like to make sure that Tuesdays are staffed.
I just want to say that, you change the whole plan of
Okay. All right. Well, that's good to know, and I'll work on that. It might not be in November, but moving forward, I'll work on at least getting someone, if not. All right. Okay. That's how we do winter training, and this is how we crush winter. Oh, sorry, Kelly, go ahead. Yeah, everything is, you sign up for all of these on MindBody. Blueprint, you sign up through their stuff. If you're going to go to Blueprint and have never been, let me know on the side. But you can sign up for all of those things on MindBody. Okay? Okay. Setting goals is a good way to achieve everything. Okay? Large, small, everything in between. So how do we do that? There's a couple of different types of goals. There's soft goals and there's hard goals. Soft goals are things like, I want to get in better shape. I want to eat better consistently. I want to be stronger mentally. I want to improve my technique. Those are great. But those don't offer any specifics for you to gauge yourself off of. And it's important to set reasonable, specific, and attainable goals to help you progress and to feel like you are progressing. So, if your soft goal is, hey, I want to get in better shape, then what you can say is, great, what am I going to do about that? I'm going to go to 2 row practices and 2 all other fitness classes every week. That is something you know you did or you know you didn't. I went to 2 practices, I went to 2 classes. Done for that week. Great, I've achieved that goal. I'll continue to do that. Right? Eating better, prepping meals. Right? I know that I have to prep my meals, and if I didn't do it, I didn't do it. Therefore, my soft goal of getting better or eating better consistently isn't necessarily happening. Being stronger mentally, right? An example of this. Did I practice my 9 energizing breaths? Did I not? Did I focus on visualization? Maybe you do your own meditation. Did I do that on the schedule that I wanted to do? Those are things that you can pinpoint to say you did them or you didn't do them. One way or the other, you know. And then you can look back and say, well, why did or why did I not achieve my goal? And you can look at your hard goals to know why. Seeking feedback for technique. I mean, I think you get where I'm going. Set attainable, reasonable goals. Small strides are the biggest part of climbing the mountain. You can't climb a mountain in one step, so you just got to focus on putting one foot in front of the other. So set yourself some one foot in front of the other goals. You'll see that as you knock those off, the larger picture starts to get better for what you want. Does that make sense? Okay? The coaches can help you with that. All right? They can help you with that, but you have to want to do it, and you have to be ready to commit to it. Okay, the reason you're all here. Winter training incentives. Yeah. How could I possibly beat last year? I can't. So I didn't even try to compete. All right, so I thought about not doing a meters challenge, and then I thought about moving out of state because I thought I'd get murdered. So I think last year was great. I loved the baby pictures of all the coaches. You loved the baby pictures of all the coaches. Those pins were certainly something that people, Mary's got them on her jacket. I see them all over the place. I don't think I'll ever figure out a theme that you care about more than baby pictures of the coaches. But I can certainly try. So, Hot Erg Time Machine. If anyone saw Hot Tub Time Machine, that's a play on. I didn't see it. I just thought of it. Recently, a lot of us were out in Boston for the Head of the Charles, and we had the opportunity to take a tour of Wellesley, the Wellesley Boathouse. And Wellesley is actually the home of competitive rowing for women in the world. We're going to call it the world. Why not? Okay. That was the late 19th century, so 1880s or so. We're going to take kind of a tour through the history of competitive women's rowing, and I'll get to the specifics of that in the next slide. But it's going to be the same principles as last year, right? I'm going to give you a destination. You're going to erg the meters that are assigned to that, and then at the end of that, once you complete those meters, you submit them to me. Literally, the mechanics of this are exactly the same. All right, you're going to submit them to me, and you get that pin. All right, distance-wise, it's similar. I think it's like an 1,100 meter difference from last year's. So really, it's about the same kind of distance. It's the same kind of thing you can expect. This one doesn't necessarily get progressively longer, so there's some shorter stops in between. You'll see why. The other thing we're doing is what I'm calling the Row Life Challenge, because it's similar to the Whole Life Challenge. All right, Last year, we gave you guys the opportunity to go to UIC to get a DEXA scan in November and a DEXA scan in March. The DEXA scan basically gives you a more accurate representation of body fat, muscle or lean muscle mass, and bone density. They're valuable tools, and we want to encourage you to go, as many people to go to them as possible. So I think that they can help. It's always important to know what your bone density is, and they don't measure that. What's that? No. You can do it again, and because your body's always changing, right? So it's a real time in real time. So what we did is we took last year we had an attendance incentive. I took the attendance numbers. I sent them to after March. I sent them to the UIC. They knew the names of the people who came in November and March. They knew the names of the people who were on the attendance sheet. What they sent me back were the attendance numbers, the number of practices attended, and their DEXA results. So they were anonymous. Essentially, after looking at those, there was little to no correlation. Meaning, there were people who came to like 2 practices all winter, but improved their DEXA scores. And there were people who came to 50 plus practices all winter, and their DEXA scores declined. Certainly, I recognize, and I'll be the first one to say, there are a lot of factors that go into that, more so than just how many practices you came to. But what those results indicated to me was that it's not just about fitness. It's not just about how much you exercise. If you go home and eat a bag of Rolos afterwards, well, I mean, yeah, you're not going to improve your lean muscle mass. You're not going to. I love Rolos. There's no one in this room who wants to go home and eat a bag of Rolos more than I do. But that's not going to get you to where. That's not a good thing for you to do. So what we wanted to do this year was try to incentivize the whole part of it, the whole aspect of a healthy lifestyle, nutrition, physical fitness, exercise, and then the mental aspect of things. Okay? Mindfulness. It's goal-oriented and point-motivated. All right, so we're going to assign points to each one of the things. I'll show you an example of the sheet when we get there, and there will be a reward. The sheet necessarily rewards you for your diversity, right? For achieving goals in all 3 of these things, not just one. All right, so let's start with the hotter time machine. Okay. So, Wellesley, 1880s, first competitive women's program. 100 years later, the IOC saw fit to put women's rowing in the Olympics at half the distance. Yeah, I mean, come on. So, Montreal, 1976, women's rowing. It's the first time women's rowing was involved in the Olympics, and it was only 1,000 meters. We didn't go to Moscow 1980, so I'm not putting it on there. LA 1984, 1,000 meters. Seoul 1988 was the first time that women's competitive rowing was at the Olympics at the same distance, 2,000 meters, as men. All right? These are all of the Olympics on here that have happened are the only Olympics that women's competitive rowing has been a part of. And the Olympics have gone on for a very long time. So, we will be moving from Chicago. You're going to erg your way to Wellesley. You're going to erg your way from Wellesley to Montreal, Montreal to LA, to Seoul, to Barcelona, so on and so forth. Every time you get there, you will get the pin of that Olympic Games. All right, these are fun Olympic Games. All right. And we're going to Tokyo, baby! All right? So that's 12. Last year we did 10 buttons. This year we'll do 12. And if any of the coaches say we're not trying to go to the Olympics, you can tell them to go screw. I'm going to all the Olympics. Okay? All right, so this is going to be the meters challenge. Again, that is something that is going to operate exactly the same as last year, just with some different distances, so on and so forth. Okay, let's look at the row life challenge. This one took significantly more. Don't worry about reading it. I'll go through that. Okay, so this is what like the month of December looks like. There are things that you can achieve on a daily basis, a weekly basis, and that are more long term. All right. For instance, under the nutrition points, okay, section up here, daily nutrition points. I ate 3 complete meals. That's a point. I ate all of my meals out of a plate or bowl while sitting down. I know. But that's real. That's like an actual health thing that you should do. So, next time you want to just dig in, think about that. I drank 8+ cups of water, being hydrated. Something we talk about all the time. Yeah, Laura. No, get out of here. Go home, see your kids. Had 5 servings each of fruits and vegetables. All right, so that's daily nutrition, daily fitness. Attending a row practice is 2 points. Erging on your own is 1. Any non-rowing fitness activity is 1. All right? Daily recovery points. I stretch before and after my workout, 1 point. I got 7+ hours of sleep, 1 point. I prioritize my pre- and post-workout nutrition, 1 point. Those are important things. These are things we talk to you about all the time. Daily mindfulness points. Some of these will make more sense after we go through them, but perform the first and second energizing breaths. Again, this is the session that Marina's going to lead you. So we will try to make the information as accessible as possible, but it's always going to be the best to attend the session itself. Turned off all electronic screens 30 minutes before you went to bed. 30 minutes or more. Oh, but I check my Instagram in bed. Yeah, me too. But what is healthy? You should turn those if you can. Again, it's an opportunity to earn a point. You don't have to do it. All right? On the weekly level, how much booze did you drink? Oh. 3 drinks or less all week, 5 points. 5 or less, 3 points. 7 or less, 1 point. 8, go see somebody. No, I shouldn't do it. I might be. All right. Introducing yourself to someone in practice that you don't know. 3 points. All right. There are a lot of people here today that I'm sure some of you haven't seen. Introduce yourself. I'm not going to give you points for it, but you should introduce yourself. Okay. Sit next. Look, I don't have a point value for this, but like at a practice, sit next to someone you don't usually sit next to. Whether you're faster or more technically sound than them, or vice versa, like this is an opportunity for the whole team to lift ourselves up, right? We take a step up the ladder by reaching down. Is that I don't know what the saying is, but I think that's close enough to it. We bring everyone with us, right? So we can all get better, and we can all help each other get better. Where was I? Oh yeah. 8 out, 3 or less times. Plan, shop, cook for the week. That's some points. Earn 1 point from each of these categories. You can essentially double your daily on a weekly basis if you earn a point from each one of these. Diversity, right? We're achieving nutrition, fitness, and mindfulness, right? So you can earn points that way. Incentivizing the Dexys game. Get the first one, 5 points. Get the one in March, 5 points. It's 10 points. It's big time. Complete the meter challenge. All right, that's the meter challenge we just talked about. If you do that by the end of the winter, you can earn another 5 points. Okay? I will give you, I did this for the last one, I will give you all the way until next November 1st to do the meter challenge, so don't feel like you've only got until the end of April. But if you do complete it by the end of April, hey, that is an incentive to push through, get meters, and just keep doing it. Okay? These will all add up. And I'll have you turn them in to me at the end of each month, and we can kind of go through. Like I said, there are 11 opportunities to work out every week. Don't do all of these. That is hard. It's also unnecessary. You're going to wear yourself out. All right? This is a lot of opportunities to earn points. The goal here is that there are specific things. These are our hard goals, and you are point motivated. Hey, I earned that point. That feels good. All right? This is an opportunity to change some bad habits into some good ones. Eat well, work out, be mindful. Don't pressure yourself to do all of them at once. If you can make some strides with 1 or 2 of each of these categories, great. Okay? We just want to help you build some good habits to lead a healthy lifestyle. I mean, that's what this team is all about. It's not exercise is a positive, but there is more to it than just exercise. Now, to help you do that, we're bringing in Paula Meyer who spoke at camp. She did the nutrition camp. She's coming in. She will do something very much like what I'm doing right now on Sunday, November 18th. Okay? And she's going to talk about some of these things you see are going to be based on some of the stuff that she's going to talk about. I've been working with her all week to kind of develop some of the nutrition aspects of these things. She'll come in on November 18th. I'm not sure exactly the time. I think I blocked out like 8:30 to 11, but it'll be somewhere. That's 2.5 hours. It's a lot of time, but somewhere within that. Excuse me. So we're bringing Paula in on the 18th. Marina is going to speak to you about the 9 energizing breaths on Wednesday, November 14th. That's a 6 to 7:15. All right, about how to go through, how to do them. That's part of our mindfulness points. All right. I think last year with our attendance and our meters, it was really great. It inspired a lot of commitment. A lot of people put in a lot of hard work, made a lot of sacrifices to achieve that fleece at the end of the winter. And, I mean, God bless it for it. I hope that helped you establish some good habits. This year, I wanted to, the meter and sensors are those awesome pins that are handmade and not available on Etsy. But the Row Life Challenge, the idea was that I thought, well, now we have Close Talk, we have So Sporty, we got JL. I'm not even going to try to pick which one of those you should want or whatever. So basically, you earn points, and at every level, and I'm going to say this right now, this is kind of a rough draft because I don't know how reasonable, easily attained, or any of these points are. I think there's a total of like 2,700 points to be earned if you earn a point in every category, every day, all the time. So 2,500 might be a bit unrealistic. But anyway, we're going to go by 10, 20, 30, 40, $50 gift cards at each point level. The highest point level, we're going to take everyone who achieves whatever again, this might not be it, but whatever we set by the beginning of December. Those who achieve the highest point level, their names will be entered for a free camp tuition. So Power 10 camp next year in June. If you've gone through, you've done the Row Life Challenge, and you get to the point at the end of April, this goes through the last day in April, April 30th, and you come out and you've earned whatever the highest level of points is or above, your name will be entered into that zone. You will not have to pay tuition for camp. Does that make sense? All right. These are the total meters for all the meter challenge. You can obviously see Wellesley and Montreal, or you guys probably earn those in like 2 practices, so I'll have to make a lot of those, but it gets harder as you go along. Okay, so those are like our 2 main winter training incentives. Yes. Yeah, sure. Yeah, good call. So warm up, workout, cool down, whether you do it at practice or not. But those meters only count if you are on the erg. Okay? So they're only erg meters, not like treadmill meters or what's that? Yeah, the mechanics of it are going to be the same. So basically what I did is last year, each one of these will have a tracking sheet that I will make available, and we'll just send them out to, I'll make them available to everyone. Once you complete a pin, you send it back to me, I mark it down, I give you a pin the next time I see you. So, good question. Everything will start at the beginning of December. All right, so I talked about the 9 energizing breaths. Marina's leading that on 11/14. If you can sign up for that, it's on MindBody sooner than later, great. I think you probably can't do it just yet. I think it gives you 5 days, but regardless, that would be helpful for us so we can plan accordingly. The nutrition strategy session with Paula is going to be Sunday, November 18th. All right, again, that'll start at 8:30. I'm not sure how long it'll go. Everything officially starts on, well, I said Sunday 12/2. I'll give you Saturday 12/1. The beginning, December 1st, all the way through April 30th. That's our winter training session. Masters will probably get in the water sometime in April. The 21st is the day that I pegged for that, but 21st of April also happens to be Easter. So it's just kind of like, and then it's either too early or too late. I don't know, man. The tracking for all of this stuff will start, like I said, December 1st. All right? On Sunday, December 2nd, we will all meet in here. We will all do a 20-minute benchmark. We will do that because that will set us up for winter training. Like I said, the training plan has specific splits for all of you to target when you're working out, and those splits are based on your 20-minute benchmark. How you do on that 20-minute benchmark truly doesn't matter. But if you're trying to get better, then you want to push it on that benchmark so that you can target the right splits to continue your improvement, both physically, from a physical fitness standpoint, also from a technical aspect. Does that make sense? We'll also end winter training with a benchmark, because we want to see how you did over the course of that. But between December 2nd and, I don't know, April 21st, I mean, that's the amount of time. It's basically 5 months you have between benchmarks. So, yeah. I mean, that's going to be the workout that morning. No. Let me talk a little bit about the schedule for November. Besides this and obviously Paula's nutrition talk, there are essentially going to be no practices on Sunday mornings. Next week is the gala on Saturday night. Therefore, Sunday, November 11th, no practice. Then it's Paula on the 18th. Then the following weekend is Thanksgiving. The boathouse is closed from Wednesday to Sunday, open again on Monday. So, but again, okay, there's like 9 other times that you can practice during the week, those weeks. Excuse me. The official, so I want to do this now instead of like the day before we start winter training, because I want you to have time to kind of gear up for it in whatever way that means for you. Does winter training affect racing? Last year I stood here and I gave you some very specific requirements for racing. That, I realized later, was a way for me to try to have something take care of itself so that I didn't have to take care of it. But I think that when we have a head coach whose job is to take care of that kind of stuff, then that is going to be their discretion. All right? So I'm not going to stand here today and tell you what the race requirements are, because I want to be able to bring in a head coach who has the freedom to establish what that means. My goal is to do that sooner than later, ideally before the start of February. I've gotten a bunch of applications. Not a lot of them have been great. I got one recently that is particularly good. So that's a good thing. I mean, the process is going, it's ongoing, but we are currently without a head coach. What I will say about racing and winter training is that I think a good example of this is we went to the head of the Charles, and I think those who raced and those who didn't, but everyone who was there realized how big this sport is. I don't just mean like big, but like how many people out there are doing this sport and what it takes to be moderately successful, to achieve your goals. Right? The Olympic cycle is 3 years long. And those people aren't just working from race to race. They're working for the Olympics. They're working for Tokyo now. If you have goals that may or may not involve racing, but if you have goals for getting on the water, you have to put the time in there. All right? So you can't just kind of not be here for winter training, get to the water season and be like, oh, well, I'm looking forward to racing. Because you're going to have a lot of people who put the time in. And it's not even because of what they'll think and I can't put people in a boat who aren't fit enough to race that boat, right? So do yourself a favor. Be honest with yourself about the goals that you have for this upcoming season. Think about what that means. And I encourage you, whether you plan to race or not, to come to winter training and come to practice and whatnot, but especially if you have ideas about racing next year. All right? Like I said, I'm not going to set specific, you got to come twice a week, you got to hit these benchmarks. But know that a head coach is going to come in here and they're going to have discretion. And you want to be able to put your best foot forward and say, I did the work. I'm here and tell me what I can do to get better and what to achieve my goals. Does that make sense? Yeah? Okay. Getting on the water in the spring feels really good. after you've put in a lot of hard work over the winter. Okay? If you're not sure where this meme came from, search success baby. What's funny is I think he actually just has a handful of sand and he just ate some, which is a lot what like winter training feels like. But at the end, you will feel that. All right? Okay, so I want to take any questions that anyone has. Yeah, go on. No, sorry. The boathouse is closed Wednesday the 21st through Sunday the 25th for Thanksgiving. That's, yes. Yeah, there were no other, all the other teams were out as well, and Marissa asked me about it, and I figured, like, I'm going to be gone, coaches are going to be gone. That Wednesday to Sunday it's also important, I didn't talk about this, but taking a break, relaxing, letting yourself gear up. You think you're losing fitness, you're actually letting your body recover from a long season. It's okay, it's good. There's also plenty of opportunities to row at all the other places. So, yes, any other questions? That's a good question. So we're not going to do tanks in November or December, but I'm going to work on tanks for January, February, and March. So we're trying to work the cost of the tanks into our contract, but we don't have a contract yet, so we don't know if that exists. As we get larger, the cost of those tanks, the need for the time in those tanks becomes prohibitively expensive. But we're working to get some time in the tanks that will make it accessible to everyone. But I don't think it's going to happen before 2019. So my goal is to get January, February, and March. Yeah. Yeah, I'm actually hopefully making a halfway decent video of this whole discussion that I'm going to then put together and make look pretty and link for everyone so they can watch it over again. But yeah, there's going to be some additional materials. Like I'll fill out I'll explain more each category of the Real Life Challenge and all that kind of stuff, so that in print. Do you want an incentive on finishing out that chart? I thought about making that, like putting a leaderboard together, but I think this is something that you have to want to do yourself. And you are welcome to share how you're doing with other people. But I think that ultimately you got to want to do this yourself, and I think that if you participate, it will pay off for you one way or another. Yeah, Mary. Yeah. So it's very similar to the here. I'll actually go back to it so you can see. All right. So all the zeros down here, that's an equation. All you have to do is put in a 1 or whatever the point value is to wherever whatever it is. So and it'll add it up down here. And then at the end of the month, you can send me these sheets, and similar to the meter challenge, I'll take your points down, or you can keep track of it yourself, whatever. But I'll collect them, similar to the meter challenge one. It's easier if you send them to me on a monthly basis rather than like all 5 months at the end. But you are similar to last year. Like once you pass the 500 point mark, you'll get that. Once you pass the 1,000 point mark, you'll get the 20. You know what I mean? Like, in theory, you could accumulate all these gift cards and spend $100 at JL, which might get you a CPAD. But it's a gift card to whichever one of those you want. I'm going to try and figure that out in a way that isn't going to take me a full week to do. Yes. Yeah, Kelly? Yeah, I'm going to try and figure out a way to make that accessible as well. No, yeah. Paul is also going to have some handouts as well. I told her, I was like, I mean, the reality is, what's great is we have 40-some odd people here today, but people can't make it, and I want it to be accessible still. Amy, you had a question? That was your question. Yeah. I mean, I would encourage you to make these sessions and not depend on the supplementary materials. Right? The people who have expertise in those areas are going to be the ones presenting on those dates. So if you can make it, I suggest you do it. that's the best thing. Yeah, sure. Sunday, so Sunday, November 18th, we'll start at 8:30. I've blocked out 8:30 to 11, but I'm not, I don't know that Paul's going to use all that time, but that's what I blocked out, 8:30 to 11. And then Wednesday, November 14th, is regular practice time, 6 to 7:15 p.m. The races? As of right now, the short answer to that is no, but we may try to find a way to facilitate that for those who might want to do a 2K sprint race or something like that. I mean, I'm not sure. So just Southside SmackDown was an event that we'd been a part of before in organizing. We removed ourselves from that role because it took far too much time for far little benefit as far as what we're trying to do goes. I don't know if it's going to happen this year or not, but that would be a local. There's also Cirque. They're not doing the Midwinter Meltdown this year up in Madison, so Cirque might be the only opportunity. But if people are interested, we can certainly figure out a way to try to make that happen. That's indoor racing for anyone who's not aware. Any other questions, comments, concerns?